Thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants are pouring into Spanish territory. Because of this, Spain has even decided to deploy its military. Today, let's take a closer look at this situation. Let's get right into it. Spain also has land in North Africa. This place is called Ceuta. Ceuta is a small city with around 85,000 residents. In just days, up to 2,000 immigrants have flooded the city at once, overwhelming local security and administration. In particular, this time it wasn't just young men moving. Entire families with young children, unaccompanied minors, and even the elderly headed to the border, which has local authorities on edge. A large crowd gathered near the border, and as people rushed forward, chaos spread to nearby roads and the coastline. Moroccan police tried to stop the movement by blocking the road and setting up vehicles about 500 meters from the border checkpoint, but they couldn't handle the influx of people. Some avoided the road and went to the hills, while others looked for ways to cross the border along the coast. Those who chose the sea tied their clothes and belongings to themselves and jumped into the water, risking danger as they swam toward Spanish territory. At the scene, several people were seen entering the sea at the same time, and immigrants continued to arrive at various points along the coast. The situation on land was similar. Hundreds crowded before the barbed wire border fence, with some attempting to tear down or push it over. Many people injured their hands and legs while crossing the barbed wire, and injured people were also seen in various parts of the scene. Border security tried to stop them, but the crowd was too large and approached from many directions, making control difficult. Within a short period of time, thousands of people entered Ceuta through various routes, causing extreme chaos at the scene and creating an emergency situation completely different from normal. The situation has become very serious now. Jesus Vivas, the head of Ceuta, requested the central government to declare a national state of emergency and to deploy the military to the border area with Morocco. The Spanish Ministry of the Interior has ruled out the possibility of declaring a state of emergency for now. However, as the situation continued to deteriorate, the Spanish government eventually decided to deploy the military. The Spanish government has sent small platoon-sized army units to the border, boosted Navy and Air Force support, and deployed diving teams for underwater search and enforcement. The EU also said it will support border and coast guard operations. The Spanish government says at least 18 people died during this large-scale migration. Most of them are believed to have been involved in accidents while crossing rough seas or the border. Since the exact count is not yet complete, the toll could rise further. The Ceuta autonomous government expressed concern that in addition to the officially confirmed number of people, if those who have not yet been identified are included, the number of people who cross the border could reach tens of thousands. In fact, it has been reported that local authorities are continuously searching the coastal and border areas to locate more people and assess the full extent of the casualties. Juan Vivas, head of Ceuta's autonomous government, called the situation a humanitarian and social emergency, saying it surpasses what the local community can manage. He said this situation is straining administration, public security, and healthcare, while citizens' anxiety is rising quickly. In particular, refugee shelters have already far exceeded their capacity, and it is reported that facilities dedicated to unaccompanied minors are also saturated to the point where they can no longer accept new people. Reports from the scene say response efforts are hampered by shortages of accommodations, food, and medical support. Many of the people who arrived in Ceuta by crossing the sea were exhausted after swimming for long periods or enduring strong currents. Some lost consciousness or showed hypothermia symptoms and got emergency treatment from staff upon reaching shore. Rescue teams and medical staff continued to provide emergency treatment at various spots along the beach, and those in serious condition were immediately transferred to the hospital. Footage released by Spanish broadcasters showed thousands of people crowding the beach area. Some migrants who managed to reach Spanish territory couldn't hide their joy, shouting, "Long live Spain!" Others kissed the ground, lay down, or hugged each other in celebration. These scenes clearly showed just how large-scale the situation was. There are several complex factors behind the situation in Ceuta, Spain. First, we can note the Moroccan government's shift in border control policy. When Spain tried to strengthen ties with Algeria, a longtime rival of Morocco, some analysts claim Moroccan authorities, unhappy with this, intentionally relaxed border controls. In addition, the Spanish judiciary's ruling also had an impact. The Spanish Supreme Court ruled that migrants caught at sea cannot be immediately deported. Smuggling groups exploited this ruling, spreading rumors to migrants that crossing the sea would prevent immediate deportation and actively encouraging illegal crossings. The most controversial issue is the Spanish government, led by Pedro Sanchez, planning to legalize undocumented migrants. The Spanish government launched a program to grant legal residency to around 500,000 undocumented migrants. As this news spread to the North African region, a misunderstanding arose that simply entering Spain would guarantee legal status, which led to thousands of migrants rushing to the border all at once. The Spanish government is strongly denying this criticism. They explained that the legalization policy is only applied in a limited way to those who were already in Spain and residing there before the policy was implemented, and that no residency status is granted to new illegal entrants crossing the border now. Those who entered through this Ceuta border breach are entirely excluded from legalization. However, neighboring countries remain unsympathetic. The Italian government, in particular, has harshly criticized Spain's immigration policy. Antonio Tajani, the Italian foreign minister, pointed out that the decision to grant residency rights to hundreds of thousands of people is a misguided policy that only helps smugglers and human trafficking organizations. Giorgia Meloni, the Italian prime minister, also stated that to protect national security and citizen safety, Italy could suspend the Schengen agreement with Spain and reinstate border controls if needed. The Spanish government summoned the Italian ambassador and protested, saying Italy's claims distort facts and politically exploit the border crisis. This situation is putting significant political pressure on Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and the current left-wing coalition government. Prime Minister Sanchez said the government would act immediately and decisively to address the situation caused by the illegal entry incident in Ceuta. While military and police are quickly deployed to calm the situation, Spain's conservative opposition still strongly criticizes the Sanchez government's policy mistakes. Santiago Abascal, leader of Spain's far-right Vox party, called the recent migrant influx an act of aggression against the country. Abascal claimed that the Sanchez government is neglecting and allowing the entry of criminals and illegal immigrants from abroad in order to expand their support base and secure more votes. Alberto Núñez Feijóo, leader of Spain's largest opposition party, the People's Party, stressed that the situation in Ceuta has become extremely dangerous and desperate. Feijóo urged the government to acknowledge the crisis and declare a national emergency to regain full border control. Meanwhile, Sanchez's socialist government has actively pursued policies to welcome immigrants from Central and South America. Due to the recent border control paralysis in Ceuta, the government's immigration policy has lost legitimacy, and the administration now faces a governance crisis amid strong opposition attacks. Meanwhile, Morocco may see this as an opportunity. International political experts point to Morocco's calculated diplomatic strategy, known as the so-called weaponized immigration policy, as the key background to this situation. Morocco has leveraged border control as a major diplomatic tool in dealings with Spain and the EU. By taking advantage of its geographical position as the physical gateway from North Africa to Europe, Morocco has adopted a strategy of adjusting the intensity of its border security as a means to extract substantial border management aid from the European Union or to gain political concessions in its favor. Morocco knows that if it temporarily relaxes or ignores border security, thousands could enter Spanish territory at once, causing chaos for Spain's government. This diplomatic tactic by Morocco was also employed once in May 2021, when tensions with Spain reached their peak. At that time, when the Spanish government admitted the leader of the Western Sahara Independence Movement, an organization in conflict with Morocco, into a hospital in Spain for treatment, Morocco retaliated by virtually lifting border controls at Ceuta. As a result, in just 2 days, more than 10,000 migrants entered Ceuta, causing a massive breakdown at the border. It was only after the Spanish government partially complied with Morocco's demands that Morocco resumed systematic border control. In this way, Morocco has repeatedly used the situation and aspirations of migrants trying to cross the border as a tool to achieve its own diplomatic objectives. They freely open and close the border as a means to achieve the results they want in diplomatic negotiations, such as border security cooperation with the European Union or territorial and fishing rights negotiations with Spain. Spain and the European Union remain vulnerable because they rely on Morocco's border cooperation, allowing Morocco to open the border to pressure Spain for political or economic gains.